Welcome, everybody. My name is Dustin Harris. I appreciate you joining me today for this special webinar on our current situation as appraisers with regard to coronavirus, COVID-19, the pandemic that we are experiencing right now throughout the world. I appreciate each of you joining me today. I do want this to be interactive. As you come on, make sure that you are muted. Make sure that your video is turned off so that we can control the bandwidth a little bit. But please feel free to jump on at any time. Simply unmute yourself and start talking. Please even start talking over me. That will be fine. Any questions that you have, any comments that you have to make as we go through, please. I don't want this just to be a lecture, though I can certainly do that if we need to. I would much rather have some back and forth with you. I will try very hard to watch the chat box. But it's very difficult to pay attention to everything at once. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions at any time. Okay. I anticipate this being about an hour presentation, and then I definitely want to do some question answer today as well. I know a lot of you have questions about our current state as appraisers. I know a lot of you have questions about the things that are going on in the world, in the United States, and with regard to appraising. Financial sectors, the mortgage industry, and real estate. And I wanted to put together something that will allow us to be able to come together as appraisers. The real purpose today is to share information. And I will start out by telling you I don't have it all. Okay, I don't have all of the answers and all of the information, but I thrive on helping my fellow appraisers to be successful, yea, even in times of difficulty and challenge. And that is really the purpose today, to come together and talk about some things that we can do as a community of appraisers. Okay. The title of the webinar today is a little bit misleading, a little bit of a misnomer, because the title is called The Future of Appraising in COVID-19. It really should be called The Present and Future of Appraising with regard to COVID-19, because we're going to talk about things that you can and should be doing right now. And we're also going to be talking about the future and what this means to each of us going forward. I want to take just a moment and just share with you, because there's a lot of people on the call who are not familiar with who I am, just to establish a little bit of a background for my bio. I've been appraising real estate, residential specifically, for 20 plus years, about 24 years now, mostly in the Idaho, Utah, Wyoming area. That is where I was born and raised and still live. About 10 years ago, I was making between $65,000 and $75,000 a year and working 60, 70, 80 hours. And I know I'm not kidding, per week. Some of you can feel that pain, and you know what that is like, especially right now. The problem is I was working myself to death and living paycheck to paycheck, and I was tired and done with that lifestyle. And so I made some major changes in my business, and quickly went from where I was to about a quadruple, and netting much more than I was before. Currently, my office does about $1 million per year. We have about 10 people that work in my firm, and we stay quite busy. My favorite thing in the whole world to do is to mentor and to coach other people, specifically appraisers. I love small business owners. I love entrepreneurial spirit, and I love principles of what I call principles of prosperity that allow people to be able to do more. Question? Accidental. Okay, I'm going to mute you. All right. And so my goal in life, my mission, if you will, is to help appraisers to be better business owners. That's really where I thrive. That's really where I enjoy the time. Now, I am still an active appraiser and do about 15 to 20 hours a week in the appraisal firm. But I love teaching and I love coaching other individuals. I share with you this bio not so much to say what I am, but also to say what I am not. Okay, let me establish this right up front. I am not a doctor. I am not an expert when it comes to COVID-19. I am not one of your government leaders that is giving you direction on how to handle this crisis. And I would encourage all of us to listen to those individuals and do our best to be able to curb the spread. My goal today is to not talk about COVID-19 specifically. My goal today is to help appraisers to be more successful despite the crisis that we see around us. Okay, All right, let me just share with you briefly what we're going to be talking about today. This is not going to be a repeat of my blog or podcast, both that came out last week. Today, I want to talk about practical ways to thrive during this crisis. Yes, I do believe that you cannot just survive, but actually thrive through the crisis. We're going to talk about how to do that. I've had several individuals reach out to me. You should know that I lead a group called the All-Star Team of over 100 appraisers who reach out, and we share information, and we're a community, and a lot of them have reached out to me this week about going paperless. Some of them reached out about servers and technology. In fact, I've spent a lot of time the last few days helping my fellow appraisers set up their server and technology so that they can work from home, and that their assistants and their contractors can also work from home and be connected. So I want to make sure that that we go over some of that today. Obviously, we don't have time to go into depth, and I will give you some other resources here if that's something that you need more detail on. We're going to be talking about inspections. I'm just going to tell you up front, we're not going to be talking about whether or not you should be doing inspections. I know there's a lot of information, a lot of opinions, many of them heated on either side of that, and we're not going to get into that. We're simply going to be talking about some of the changes that Fannie and Freddie did this week, what that means to appraisers, and then allow you as the business owner to make your own decision. We are going to talk about the financial implications. Now, let me tell you, this is not financial implications on a wide scale, okay? This is financial implications to you, the business owner, the appraiser. We're going to be talking about what small business owners, specifically appraisers, can be doing right now to be very careful with their finances, because I know there's a lot of fear and trepidation when it comes to the financial implications of what's going on here, okay? Multiple streams of income. Okay, this is something that you have probably, if you followed me for any amount of time, have heard me talk about over and over and over again. And in the current situation that we find ourselves in, I can't think of a more pertinent topic. We're going to talk about what that means and give you some ideas as well. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the future. We're going to get out my crystal ball here and see what we can figure out. Okay. Again, this is not to repeat what happened this last week. I would point you to the appraisercoach.com. I put out a blog, I think a week ago today, so last Wednesday. I think it's probably the second blog that you'll find on my website. If you go to the website and just click on blog, it'll be the second one down, because I think another one came out this morning. And it something to do with COVID-19, coronavirus, and appraisers. On Sunday, had a podcast that came out on this topic as well. If you don't subscribe to my free podcast, I would highly recommend that you do, and we will keep you updated as much as possible through this process. But again, I don't want to repeat what was there, but I do want to point out a couple of things that you would find there that I think are pertinent. Okay. A couple things that I want to make clear. First of all, there's been many appraisers that say, let's look at past experience and say, maybe make some predictions on what this is going to do to appraisers moving forward. Here's the problem. This is completely unprecedented. Now, as appraisers, I know we like to look to history to determine the current situation, right? Our whole job is taking a look at the last 6 to 9 to 12 months of a sales history in a neighborhood to indicate what a value is today. That's what we do. And so naturally, we're going to look and say, well, what have we had in the past that is similar, that's going to predict what we can expect here, okay? I don't think that that's a bad thing to do. I just don't think it's a complete process. And the reason is we've never had anything quite like this before. There's certainly things that have been similar, and I think we can learn lessons from the past, but really we're going off of a brand new thing that's new to all of us. And so this is a matter of learning as we go, okay? I stressed very, very strongly to take care of yourself first, and you're gonna hear that stress today as well. That is the most important thing. No appraisal fee, and frankly, no appraisal business is worth your health and safety. And if you feel like you're putting your health and safety at risk, or those around you, your loved ones that you come in contact with, I would please ask that you take care of yourself first. That is the most important thing. And if you lose your entire appraisal business, folks, it'll be okay. It really will. Those of you who follow me with the All-Star team and my dream teams you hear me talk a lot about with any situation, you always look at the worst case scenario. Okay, sometimes I just abbreviate it and say the WCS. Okay, the worst case scenario. If you can handle the worst case scenario, then you can get your courage and you can move forward. Okay, if the worst case scenario is you lose your appraisal business and you've got to start over from scratch, it's not worth your health, okay, to risk that. All right. This is a great time to take time to get educated. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we proceed here. I can tell you without equivocation, I am not worried about the potential changes in inspections, okay, the things that are changing and will continue to change. An announcement was made yesterday, or was it 2 days ago, by Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and there are changes already afoot. Many of you have seen that many of the lenders have not been so quick to change, and that's a little bit frustrating to many of us. But that being said, I'm not worried about the long-term potential changes in inspections. I know there's been a lot of talk out there from appraisers who say if we go down this road, just be prepared to go down this road forever and ever and ever. And I understand that worry, understand that concern. It's not a concern of mine. Okay. I believe that we need to be watching the markets. People look to us as experts. Again, we'll get into that a little bit more today as we talk about what we can do during this crisis. And again, I just want to stress the future is unknown. We have no idea what this is going to do to real estate. We have no idea what this is going to do to each of our individual businesses, but there are certain principles that are true no matter if we have a virus or not. And those are the things I want to focus on today. Certain things, practices, procedures, and principles that you can adhere to, you know they're true because they continue to work time after time after time, okay, despite the situation that we find ourselves in. One of those being multiple streams of income, that we don't just have one basket that all of our eggs lie in, that basket of appraisal, if you will, that basket of AMCs, if you will, that basket of fill in the blank. Okay. All right. Let's talk about some practical ways to thrive during a crisis. This is a principle that I've taught for many, many years, and I will just repeat it here, folks. Now, let me, before I share too much on the think outside the box idea, okay, I am a big fan right now of listening to our experts, listening to our medical professionals, and being wise. When I say think outside the box, I'm talking about your business, not your health. Okay, many of you have heard me say, if the crowd is going one way, go the other way, right? I'm talking business when I say that. I'm not talking this health crisis. In other words, I don't want you saying, well, everybody is sheltering in place and everybody is practicing social distancing, so I'm not. I'm going to go the opposite way. That's not what the appraiser coach is saying today, okay? When I say think outside the box, I say take an opportunity to start thinking differently than your peers with regard to your business, okay? And I think that the creativity that we can come up with as appraisers can be beneficial not to just ourselves but to others as well. You will know if you follow me in any aspect at all, on my blog, on my podcast, in my All-Star team, what have you, you know that I am not a big fan of individuals who tend to keep their distance from other peers and look at them as competition, because frankly, I don't see it that way. I see us as the opportunity to blend together and to be a part of each other's lives. In fact, every quarter I host a breakfast or a lunch for my fellow appraisers right here in my local area. I can tell you that not a lot of people show up, and I think some of that is fear. But I don't see it that way. This is an awesome opportunity for us to reach out and to link arms with one another and to help each other through this process. Okay. Number one, be safe. Okay, but find ways to help other people with your services. Folks, you come to the table with services that you can provide to others. Think through how you can help people in your local area to be more effective and more productive during this time. And I know that's not a word that you're going to hear a lot right now in the media. Okay, productivity, if you turn on the news, has gone down the toilet. Okay. I don't think it needs to. I just think we need to switch the way that we're thinking about the way that we're providing those services. Many of you have heard me say this, that the two great rules of marketing are to be known and to be known as the expert. Okay, you've got to get your name out there. You've got to get your face out there, and you need to be seen as an expert. And this is an awesome opportunity right now to become that person. Okay, you can do that through social media updates. Okay, now many of you are not on social media. I would highly recommend that you do. And I know that by saying that, okay, that there are some trepidation with some of you, and I get it. I was there, folks. I was so anti-Facebook for so long, okay, and I get it, and I understand what it can become, and I understand the addiction, and I understand the time suck that it can be. I also know that it can be a great and powerful tool, as can LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter. Okay, this is an awesome opportunity to set up social media and start drawing in a community of people that you can start to influence. Okay, but keep them updated. For example, just yesterday, I jumped on my what I call Ask the Appraiser Facebook group. That's just a local group with realtors and a few attorneys and a lot of homeowners. And I just jumped on and I did about a 3-minute video and said, hey guys, Dustin Harris here from Appraisal Precision. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's going on, what's happening with the market, what's happening with the real estate, what's happening with appraisals, and some of the precautions that we're taking, what Fannie and Freddie have done, and just kind of give people an update so that they know and they keep in the know as to what's going on. Okay, utilize the time that you have on the quote unquote quarantine or shelter in place, whatever you want to call it, to update those individuals and stay connected with your community. Okay, I'm a big fan of meeting with small groups of people. So on a regular basis, I will get in front of a real estate group, for example. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was in front of a RE/MAX group. There's about 12 people where I had an opportunity to talk about, this was before the virus. I had an opportunity to talk about the market and talk about appraisals and talk about what happens when your appraisal comes back low, okay, and what does that mean low? And we had a great discussion. I'm a big fan of those things, and a lot of appraisers saying, well, that's kind of out the window. Well, not really, folks. I mean, you can see today, you're all on a call right now with me. I have 100 people all over the United States, and we're all meeting together. The technology is there, utilize it. Not only that, but you've got individuals that, quote unquote, are sheltered in place. For example, realtors right now are not showing homes for the most part. Okay, they're not doing open houses for sure. They are at home, they are at their offices, and they have some downtime that they didn't have before. Take advantage of that downtime to start updating them and getting to be known and be known as the expert in your local area. Okay, and again, be willing to do things differently, not in a stupid way. Okay, let's please put our health first, but I'm talking about business. Be willing to think outside the box when it comes to business. Look at multiple streams of income. Yes, even outside the real estate world. Okay, I'm a big fan of not just diversifying within your own portfolio of appraisal. In other words, some people will say, well, I don't have all my eggs in one basket. I work for AMCs and direct lending. Well, okay, certainly that is diversification, but what about diversifying completely outside the realm of real estate as well and having that as a potential fallback as well? I think it's a wise principle to adhere to. Okay, let's talk briefly about going paperless. I'm not going to go into a lot of depth on this, but it's a question that has been asked by a lot of individuals. Many of you are already there. Congratulations. Those of you who are not, folks, this used to be a good idea. Now it's all but essential. I don't know how long this will last, but moving files and folders around just isn't smart, and it's not practical. You've got to interact with one another to do so. Right now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the call, I have 10 people that work for me, and all 10 of them are working from home. I had an AMC reach out to me about 2 days after I sent them home, and they said, are you doing anything different with this crisis? And I said, well, sort of. I mean, we were already set up to work from home. Now it's just mandatory, right? Really, the only change is instead of giving my employees and my contractors a choice as to whether they wanted to come into our brick and mortar building or to stay home, they simply had no choice. They needed to go home because I didn't want an interaction with other individuals. We had to tweak one computer. That was it. Everybody else was good to go. We were already set up and they were ready. But we had to be paperless in order to start there. Okay. Is there a question? Okay. Somebody may have unmuted themselves accidentally. Okay. So going paperless, it's not as hard as it sounds. It's more of a mindset than it is a practicality. Okay, let's start with dual monitors. Folks, if you don't have dual monitors, you can't see this, but in front of me, I've got a monitor in front of me. I've got a monitor over here. I've got a monitor over there, and I have ability to even hook up more monitors. Folks, if you're not using dual monitors, you need to start there. That's the very beginning. Okay? And I know some of you are rolling your eyes thinking, who's not doing dual monitors? Trust me, folks, you would be surprised. Okay, there's a lot of people that aren't and really don't even know how. Okay, I can help you through that process. It's not very, very challenging. It's not difficult. I remember years ago when I used to have one monitor, and I would have a little plastic dealie that was actually taped to my monitor that sat off to the side that was a little clip. And we would go print the MLS sheets, and then we would clip them next to the monitor. So I've got the monitor here and the little clip here, and I would literally be looking at a piece of paper, a physical piece of paper, typing stuff into the report off of the MLS sheet. Many of you have done that. Some of you are still doing that. Folks, don't do that. Okay, going paperless is not challenging. If you're not doing mobile inspections, I highly recommend that you do that. On my website, there is a whole course on how to go mobile. With lasers and with handheld computers, smartphones, and I walk you step by step how to do that and overcome some of the challenges that some of you have with mobile inspections. But right now, you literally can walk through and around a house without touching anything with mobile inspections. And to me, this is just smart. If you're going to do interior inspections, even on a vacant house, I don't want to touch anything. Okay, maybe with my elbow, right? And I can literally hold my phone and my laser with two hands and walk around a property and not touch a thing. Okay, and so I think this is important. On your computer right now, there is a PDF printer most likely. Many of them come with Windows or whatever system that you're using. Okay, if you don't have one, they're free to download. All this means is instead of hitting print to the HP that's sitting in the corner, you simply change the printer, the default printer, to a PDF printer. And all it does is it takes that same sheet and it prints it digitally, and you can put that in files and folders on your computer. Okay, it's very simple to do. Remember, there's a lot of questions that come up with paperless. People say, well, Dustin, what about work files? I have to have a work file. My state requires that I have a physical work file. Okay, folks, no state in the United States or in all 5 territories requires that you have to have a, quote, physical work file. Now, if you're in a state that requires that, please message me and let me know, but I've never found one yet, okay? Most appraisers think that they need a physical work file. You do not. You need a work file, okay? Not a physical work file. You can save the same stuff in a digital form as you can in a paper form, okay? You need a system to share with others. What does that mean? That means you need a container, is what I call them, okay? A container to keep things in and to share things with. There's a lot of pictures that we deal with as appraisers, and we need to get those back and forth to one another, okay? So things like Google Drive, Amazon has its version, Microsoft One, Dropbox. These are the types of containers that you might need to get files back and forth between people. Again, I've got 10 people right now today working all over the United States and the world. I've got a few in the Philippines working as well today, and we need to get those files back and forth to one another, so they can work inside their office, inside their home, and still get access to all of the files as if they are sitting physically in the office. Super important, okay? Let's talk briefly about servers and technology. This can get really confusing, so I'm going to stay at the 30,000 foot level, okay? If you want more details to how to set up servers and technology, I do have a webinar on my website. You simply need to go to theappraisercoach.com, go to products and scroll down. It is free. It's called Setting Up a Server, I think, something like that, and it goes into a lot of detail. It's about a 2-hour webinar on how to set up a server. Just going to give you a brief overview, okay? Carlos says, Verifile is another source for securing, transferring, signing, and storing files. Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate you sharing that. Verifile. He spells it V-E-R-I-F-I, excuse me, Y-L-E. One more time, V-E-R-I-F-Y-L-E. Appreciate that. I'm not familiar with that one, but Carlos, thank you for sharing, okay? First of all, you've got to decide if you're going to use a server. Let's define server, first of all. When you think about server, most of us have this vision of, you know, rows and rows of blinking lights on racks, okay? Now, certainly those might be servers. We're not talking that sophisticated here, okay? We're talking simply a computer that serves other computers, okay? That's what we mean. Wow, somebody's writing on the screen. How cool is that? Keep going. Never seen that before. All right, cool. So what we're talking about is a computer, okay, that simply serves, okay, other computers or other workstations. And you can either do that virtually, meaning you can hire somebody to be that virtual server, or you can have your own physical virtual server. I can tell you that I have a physical virtual server in my office, okay? I'd like it that way because I'm a touchy-feely guy, right? I want to be able to go in and touch my server and say, okay, this is mine. I've used virtual servers. It feels a little out of control to have somebody else in control of my computer. So I don't go that direction. But you can go either way. Either way works, okay? There's a couple different ways to set this up. Again, we're staying at the 30,000 foot level right now, okay? There's the cheap and easy. Cheap and easy basically means that you can take a physical server and you can connect other physical servers in the same space, the same office space together. I would not suggest this for more than 4 users, okay, but you can do this. So imagine this, you've got the server in the middle, okay, this is a physical server, and then you've got a node, a node, a node, and a node, okay, a workstation, 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 workstation. And if you're using, for example, a la mode, that's the one I'm familiar with, you can keep your a la mode on the main server, and you can put workstation versions without any extra cost other than the server cost, okay, on those 4 nodes. And then you can have people remote into those physical servers, and that way you're not kicking each other off. Some people will say, well, why can't I just go to my PC or remote login? And you can. The problem is those only allow 1 user per computer. So the goal here is to set up multiple computers that other people can log into, okay? The cheap and easy way is a physical server with maybe, you don't need full computers on the workstations, maybe a thin client, okay? If you go to Amazon.com, just type in thin client, you'll know what I'm talking about. $200 to $300 is a fully functional computer, okay, that you can connect to that server that people can remote into, okay? John Sexton says, the best thing I've done is set up my server. John and I have worked together on that. So way to go, John. Yeah, I know that to be true, okay? The other thing is you can do an expensive and robust virtual server. That's what I have in my office. It's not necessary unless you have a number of people working for you, okay? And basically the gist of this is imagine a big computer, okay, that has virtual workstations inside the computer. Okay, they look and act to all your software like physical workstations, but they're not. They're virtual. Okay, this is going to run you anywhere from $2,500 to maybe $4,500 to buy all of the components and set it up. But you know, it's a little bit more robust, and it certainly is something that we utilize in our office and love. And it keeps us from having to buy multiple versions of software in order to serve all of our individuals. It also helps us to not have to transport files back and forth. Okay, photos and zap files and comp databases and quick lists and all of that stuff. They're all concentrated in one area, and we can all use them. Okay. All right. We talked about VPNs. There's a lot of them out there. VPN is basically a virtual protocol network. It allows you to be able to tunnel in to these computers, okay? And there's a lot of them out there. There's TeamViewer, there's GoToMyPC, there's LogMeIn. We use Remote Desktop Login, which is just a Windows 10 Pro add-on. And it works very well. And I know I've been warned it doesn't have the greatest security. I get that. I've used a lot of them out there, and there's some great ones out there. That has worked best for us. Okay. Now we're going to see if the writing on the screen will disappear if I go to the next slide. Cross our fingers, and it doesn't. Okay. I have no idea how to get rid of that. So whoever wrote it, thank you. Not a criticism, but I'm wondering if you can find an erase button as well. Otherwise, we're going to see that throughout the rest of the. Thank you. There it goes. Lovely. Awesome. Appreciate that. Okay. Okay, perfect. So let's talk about inspections. Again, we're not going to talk about whether or not you should be doing inspections, okay? That is up to you. That is a business decision. That is a health and safety issue that you need to deal with on your own. I know that there are some strong opinions on either side. And I know some of you are just biting the bit saying, well, Dustin, I want to jump in here and give my opinion, okay? Again, this has got to be something that you decide for yourself. And I know that some of you are saying, well, Dustin, it doesn't just affect you. What other people do affects everybody. I get it. Trust me, I do. We as a team have sat down and we have talked through this as a group. When I say sat down, virtually sat down, we've talked about this, and what we have decided to do in our firm may be different than what you decide to do in your firm. Okay, and I respect and honor each of you as business owners to make that decision for yourself and for your team. Okay, that being said, if you are doing interiors, even if they are vacant, please take precautions. Okay, at the very least, you should be discussing with the point of contact. Okay, and talking to them about the situation, helping them to understand and educate them on, when I show up, I'm going to be in a mask. I'm going to be wearing gloves. I'm not going to touch light switches. I'm not going to touch doors. Please have everything open. This is an FHA. Please have the ladder set up with the scuttle open so that I can get up there and peek. I mean, these are simply things that you need to communicate with your point of contact. Okay. I also believe these are things you need to discuss with your client. Okay. With regard to what Fannie and Freddie did this week, I want to make sure that we are discussing with our client what our concerns are, what our precautions are, what we will and won't do. As we learned this week, and I was disappointed in this, I'll tell you that right up front. I was disappointed that Fannie and Freddie took the steps that they took, but they don't, in my opinion, think they went far enough. They left the door open, but then they gave the responsibility to the lender. I don't think that there is enough pushing lenders to change. Okay. Now that may change. That may change if enough appraisers are not doing inspections. There may come a time when lenders are not getting loans done, and they might need to be a little bit more flexible in the way that they handle inspections. But for now, I got all the emails that you got yesterday as well, basically saying, here's what Fannie Mae did, and guess what? We're not making any changes. Okay, and that was a little bit frustrating to me as well. John says, I may have missed this, but what did you decide? Are you doing interior inspections? Great question, John. All right, moving on. Again, I think this is a decision that you and John, reach out to me privately. You and I have an open line of communication, and I'll share that with you. But again, the purpose of the webinar today is not what is Dustin Harris doing, what is Appraisal Precision doing. This is all about what you as a business owner need to decide on your side. Okay, and so make sure that. That you're having that discussion at the very least. If you're a one-man or one-woman show, okay, you've got to have that discussion with your significant other and your family and make sure that you make the right decision for you, okay? With regard to exteriors, okay, please make sure, remember, we're still under USPAP guidance, okay? And USPAP says that the information that we utilize needs to be credible. Okay, make sure that your information is credible. I hope she doesn't mind me singling her out, but I had a Dream Team Mastermind virtually on Monday. This is a group that we normally would have met in person in Dallas on Monday, but we met virtually on Monday, and one of my members, Teresa, said that she had an assignment to go out and do a multifamily. And the multifamily, there was a question as to whether or not it was a duplex or a triplex, and there was also a question on square footage. How much space got allocated to each of those units? She did not feel comfortable doing the inspection, the on-site inspection. And so she needed to then make the decision, well, do I have enough credible information to make evaluation here? And because of the unknowns, she made the wise choice to move away from that assignment for now, and basically got back to the point of contact, the client, and basically said, I can't do it right now. I'm not going to do interior inspections right now, and there's not enough credible information to make this go. So let's wait until this resolves itself, and then we'll go out and do that assignment. Okay, these are decisions that you need to make for yourself. Okay, these are business decisions, health and safety issues that you need to decide, but make sure if you're doing exteriors that you have credible information. The same is true with desktops, okay? Virtual technology is there. You're on it right now. Did you know that Zoom is free up to 40 minutes? Okay, you can get on, you can get an account on Zoom up to 40 minutes, and you can connect with your point of contact. I know appraisers who are doing virtual walkthroughs with their point of contact. Again, I'm not going to make a judgment whether or not that is credible or not. You've got to decide that. Okay, but I do know that some are doing that, and I do know that Fannie Mae is allowing that. I found it interesting, if you read through Fannie Mae's memo, they put in order the preference that they like to see appraisals. And number one, top of the list is full inspections, interior and exterior. Okay, the next one down you would think would be exteriors, drive-bys, but actually the next one down is desktops. in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I think that is true because desktops allow probably for more virtual technology. It also is for purchases. There may be more accurate, more up-to-date MLS photos, interior and exterior, that they're looking at as well. Okay, but remember that there is mobile technology out there. It's just a matter of talking your point of contact through, and you've got to decide whether or not that information is credible. Okay. Let's talk about financial implications for just a little bit. Please know, again, this is not financial on a broad scale. If you want to learn about the financial implications on a broad scale, turn on CNBC or Fox Business or whatever your choice of media outlet is right now when it comes to business. There are plenty of people out there talking about the financial implications to the United States and to the world. Okay, I want to talk today about the financial implications for you. I'm going to start out by saying, again, and reiterating, we don't know exactly what will happen. I can tell you that I keep my finger on the pulse of appraisers across the nation pretty closely, and right now, for the majority, we are very, very busy. In fact, some of us are seeing unprecedented movement with regard to refis and purchases. We've never seen anything like it before. So even with the virus going on, we are seeing numbers of new orders come in. In fact, just yesterday I was on a mastermind call, virtual mastermind group from, well, again, virtually, but we should have met in Salt Lake City. We met virtually, and one of the individuals said, just in the time that we've been sitting here, I've got 6 new orders. I mean, this is crazy what's going on in the world right now. And so right now, life's good. What do you do when life's good? Okay, think squirrel, right? Think about the squirrel that hides away the things that they need to hide away for the winter. Now is the time to be doing that, and now is the time to be cutting costs. I am not making a prediction that our business will go down. I have no idea. I would plan ahead anyway, and I would let them know, right? Them meaning those I'm financially responsible for, employees and contractors, and my family. Okay. That we're making plans for whatever may come our way, okay? This is not a fear-monger thing. This is just practicality, okay? I would start with cutting spending. This is a great opportunity, and this would happen, I think this should happen yearly, annually, okay? You should sit down, you should look through your bills, look through your credit card statements, look through your other financial statements and say, okay, where am I spending money that I don't need to spend, that's not giving me the value back? Okay, now I would also be careful that there's a difference between cost and investment, okay? And when you look at these things, is whatever I'm participating in, whatever I'm spending money on, giving me more value than I'm putting in, okay? You don't cut in those areas. You cut in areas that are not reasonable. Now is a great opportunity to go through and look at that, okay? Many of you have an escrow account, a savings account, okay? You probably heard the news last week that the IRS indicated they are postponing tax day. It will no longer be April 15th. If I remember correctly, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the end of July. And that I think originally was for payment, not for filing. I think that's been changed and has also changed on most state levels to filing as well, so that you can file and pay at the end of July. What does that mean? Well, some of you have tax escrow accounts. I would not recommend that you dip into that. Obviously, not right now. We're busy, right? When things slow down, remember that that is an option. I am not a big fan of small business loans, okay? I know they're necessary sometimes. I've used them myself, okay? But I'm not a fan of loans in general. I'm not a fan of debt if we can avoid it, okay? So look for other opportunities to maybe float, if you will, through that. Now, this is a great lesson, and maybe some are saying, well, Dustin, it's too late now. Maybe this is a dress rehearsal for something coming down the road, right? And maybe it won't be a virus next time, it will be something else. There's a true principle here at play, and that is when you have excess, put it away and save it for a rainy day, okay? Currently, I have about 3 to 4 months of payroll set aside in an account where if we made no pennies at all, not one penny, I could still pay my staff for 3 months. How many of you are in that situation? You can get in that situation. It's not hard. It's putting 5 to 10% of everything that comes in on a gross level into an escrow account and letting it sit, okay, and not touching it. It's just a matter of setting it up and following through with it, okay? Cindy says, and Tracy says July 15th. Thank you. Appreciate that correction. July 15th. Okay. Pay attention to your payroll. You've heard me say this before, that the most expensive thing that a small business owner has to deal with is payroll. Okay? It's very, very expensive. Yes, please. Oh, okay. Somebody must have accidentally unmuted. Okay. All right, so pay attention. I mean, that's probably going to be your biggest indicator, okay? And there's some things that you might want to do, okay? Let me give you a couple of ideas. For example, don't scare your crew, okay? You need to reassure your crew, but if you want to offer them, as things slow down, voluntary days off, you'll be surprised. I'm always fearful of saying, hey, does anybody want to take some voluntary days off? Because I'm afraid of what it might do to their psyche. Well, is he worried? Am I going to lose my job? Oh, no, right? It all depends on how you present it, but you will be shocked and surprised how many will want to take these voluntary unpaid days off, okay? They've been working hard, they've been overwhelmed, and it's time for them to go relax. Okay, and many of them will do that. That already reduces your payroll and gives you a little bit of breathing room. Okay, right now I should let you know that working from home is in. It's the cool thing to do. Okay, about 2 weeks ago, and remember 2 weeks ago, folks, we were in a, I know it's hard to believe, but 2 weeks ago this was not that big of a deal. Okay, it really wasn't. It seems crazy to think that. I mean, 2 weeks ago they were saying, well, maybe we shouldn't do samples at Sam's Club anymore. I mean, that's the world we lived in two weeks ago. Things have changed dramatically. They're changing on a daily, hourly basis. I literally changed this presentation 30 minutes before I jumped on. That's how quickly things are changing, right? And I would say that this is going to be outdated by the end of the day, right? But there are certain financial principles at stake here. But 2 weeks ago, I put out an ad for an assistant for an appraisal office, and it was a work from home situation. I started the ad by saying probably a long shot, but here's what I'm looking for. The first 2 to 3 days, not really much movement. All of a sudden I got hammered with new resumes, and I thought, what the heck happened? Well, what happened was people are getting laid off. They're being sent home. Their bosses don't have the setup that we talked about earlier with the server and the work from home situation, and they're out of a job. There's a lot of people out there. You might want to take advantage of the opportunities that are out there as well for people who still need jobs, who are willing to work from home, but their current employer didn't have that opportunity. Okay. All right. Let's talk about multiple streams of income and what that means to each of us. First of all, I am a big advocate of making sure that we're constantly, what my good friend Blaine Fine says is digging our well before we're thirsty. Okay, and private work is one of those wells that we should be digging constantly, building those relationships, reaching out to real estate agents and attorneys and other individuals on a private side. Many of us, our main source of income is AMC work, but there's so much else out there that as appraisers we can be doing, and now is an awesome opportunity to start to build that work if you have not done so already. Okay, if it were me, and it is me, we're setting up a stronger relationship with REO companies. Okay, now I heard the news as well. I know that they've put a pause, if you will, on foreclosures for a year. If you read the fine details on that, that does not mean there's not going to be any foreclosures this year. And that certainly doesn't mean there's not going to be any pre-foreclosure work this year. Okay, the banks still need to know what their accounts look like, and so looking at those types of opportunities would be beneficial. Okay, REOs, other services that you might provide. Okay, what does that look like? Well, what about educational opportunities for those that you serve? Okay, free or not? Why not offer some webinars that aren't free? That people can come and gain some education on the market and on values and on things that can happen. Okay, I'm a big fan of free education on that side because it gets you in front of people to be known and to be known as the expert. Okay, can you still measure a home from the outside without endangering you or your family? That might be a possibility and things to look at as well. There still are listings happening, and there still are people that want to know what their square footage is. Okay, and I know a lot of appraisers out there provide those types of services as well. I'm a big fan of market reports. What does that mean? People are hungry for information, especially in times like this that there's so many unknowns. They want to know, has the value of my home dropped, right? Has the value of my neighborhood dropped? What's going on in the local market? And I think by providing those types of reports, we all have that expertise, right? We do it on a daily basis as we do appraisal work. Why not just share that information in some type of a newsletter or market report that you can put out there? Again, these are other opportunities to look at other streams of income. What about yourself? Educating yourself. Now, Dustin, that's not multiple streams of income, or is it? Right? First of all, do you have your CE done for the year? Now might be an awesome opportunity to get that done online. Okay, and then look at for a variety of other educational things as well, what I call niches. Why not take a class on manufactured home appraising, oddball home appraising, luxury home appraising? Okay, how many of you are doing relocation work? There are classes and educational opportunities that you can provide yourself there, so that when this is over, and it will be over, you have now established yourself as an expert in an area that you did not do work in before. This could be a great opportunity for you to work on your business and on yourself, so that when this is over, you have a skill set that you didn't have before. Okay, I'm a big fan of what I call ONII. It stands for on it, not in it. Okay, OINII, ONII time. ONII time is basically when you work on your business, not in your business. Okay, working in your business is doing inspections and finding comps and making adjustments and reconciliation and all these things that we do on a daily basis. How often do you take the time to step back and say, okay, breathe, okay, let's work on my business. How is my business doing? What am I doing for marketing? What am I doing for my technology? Do I have enough people working for me? Do I need to find other people? These are things about working on your business, not in your business. Now is a great opportunity to do that, okay? And now is a great opportunity to look at that non-related business. I'm just going to speak bluntly here for a second, okay? Forgive me for this, but this is what I see. Not in my all-star team and not on my dream team. That's a different group of people. Okay, but in the appraisal world in general, I see a lot of pessimism. I see a lot of people that hate themselves, a lot of people that hate their job, and it's unfortunate. I love what I do. I do. Not just the teaching side, but I love appraising. It's exciting. It's fun. I get to walk through people's houses on a normal day, and it's fun. It's an exciting career that we're a part of, and the freedom that I have as an appraiser is awesome. I love it. Many of you don't. If you don't love appraising, is now the opportunity for you to start looking at that coffee shop that you wanted to open up, or that flipping development business that you wanted to do years ago that you'd never done anything on. Now may be the perfect opportunity for you to do that, okay? John sent me a private message, so I'm not going to read it out loud, but he talked about buying a certain stock. The last stock that you mentioned, John, I thought about buying 4 weeks ago. Stupid of me, huh? I didn't do anything with it. All right. In conclusion, please don't let the unknowns equal fear. There's a lot of fear right now. You turn on the news and it's fear. You turn on the, any form of social media and there's a lot of fear. And there's some funny stuff out there as well. Okay, I laugh along with the memes as well. Okay, but there's a lot of fear out there. There should not be. Please don't let your unknowns equal fear. You've probably heard me say this before. I'll say it again. Fear is a great motivator. It's a poor problem solver. Okay, fear is a great motivator. It's a poor problem solver. Do not let your fear solve your problems. Fear can wake you up. Fear can say, hey, Dustin, there's something you need to do here, okay? But don't use that fear to solve your problems, because you'll do some crazy, stupid things if you do, okay? Be wise. Please reassure your team. Every single day I pick up this phone and I go to my WhatsApp. We have a WhatsApp channel. WhatsApp, by the way, if you're not familiar, is kind of a walkie-talkie service, so you can send audio messages. So every single day for the last several days, I get on there. There's a channel that I have for all of my team. These are all my contractors and all of my appraisers and all of my office help and my VAs, and everybody are all together. And I just jump on there for about 5 minutes and I just say, hey, thank you for all of you. I know it's not comfortable to be working alone. I know you like the collaboration that we have in the office. I know there's been some technical challenges. You've worked through those. Let me update you on what Fannie and Freddie said today. You're probably getting lots of emails today from AMCs. pay attention to those. Here's what that means. Here's what we're doing as a group. But most importantly, folks, I'm reassuring them and saying, folks, we're busy as we can be. Don't let the future dictate what we're doing today. Your job is secure as of today, right? Just keep working. Let's keep working together, a team. I love you all. Let's keep working together. And I think that is very, very helpful. So, folks, if you're feeling a little bit of fear, times that by 10 with those of you who have employees. Okay, make sure that you're reassuring them and you're helping them to understand what's going on. Okay, Joe, if you send me a private message, I'm not going to read it out loud. Awesome. Okay, I am going to share this. Joe said, I share your enthusiasm, love this business, love what I do, no fear, love it. Okay, take some time to catch up. There are so many things that you could be doing right now, folks, so many things that need to be done that, let's just be honest, they've been on the back burner, okay? Now's an awesome opportunity to catch up on those things. Accounts receivable, okay? How many past dues do you have that you could work on right now? Okay, do you have a procedure manual and are you updating it regularly? This is a great, we're doing that in our, even though as busy as we are, we're updating our procedural manual on a regular basis, okay? Again, education. You survived 2008. Well, some of you are newer than that, but you'll survive this. Trust me. I know, Dustin, this isn't 2008. I get it. Trust me. I get it. I understand. But you will survive this. You will. Okay. We have a great team of appraisers that think differently than most appraisers. We're positive, uplifting, helping each other. It's called the All-Star Team. And we're there right now with community collaboration on what's going on a daily basis, okay, from a positive standpoint. Right now, I want as many appraisers to be a part of this as possible. And so right now, forgive me for the coupon code. It's a little bit morbid, but COVID-19, if you use that when you sign up for the All-Star Team, you'll get a month free. This is for new signups only. Okay, you'll get a month free, a whole month, and you have access to everything. Every webinar I've ever done, all of the membership library and the community resources are there. Just use COVID-19 and you can jump on there. And if you want to just use it for a month and hopefully we'll be out of this mess in a month, and that's all you needed it for, great. Just cancel at the end of that month and there'll never be a charge to your credit card. I just want appraisers to come together, especially during this time. And so if you want to be a part of that, just jump on my website, theappraisercoach.com, click on memberships, and just use that coupon code, and you can participate there, okay? All right. Yeah, I mean, this goes without being said. More than ever, we need each other. We need to work together, okay? I don't want to end on a negative note, but I see a lot of bickering and a lot of fighting and a lot of opinions out there on some of the other groups, okay? We don't need that, folks. We need to work together. Your opinion's fine. I'm not saying we don't need your opinion, but let's be careful about how we share it. Let's be respectful of one another. Let's work together as appraisers. We can get through this. We will get through this, and we will thrive, not just survive through this, okay? We are going to do a little question answer here in just a little bit. I just want to review quickly about some things that we talked about today. First of all, we talked about practical ways we can thrive during this crisis. We talked about going paperless. We were at the 30,000 foot level with servers and technology connection and how to get your team connected. We talked a little bit about it, inspections, not whether or not you should be doing them, that's up to you, but if you do them, whether it be desktops, exteriors, or full interiors, first of all, safety first, and second of all, make sure that the information that you're getting is credible. Okay. We of course talked about multiple streams of income, not just within the appraisal community, but also with outside resources as well. Taking your eggs and putting them in other baskets, even in other trees, if you will, okay? Folks, this is a chapter in our lives. It is not the whole book, I promise. There are many chapters to be written, and let's just be honest, you are the author. You're the one writing those chapters. Where will you go from here, okay? All right, let's take some question and answer. The best thing to do is to just maybe unmute yourself, or maybe raise your hand. We got so many people on this call that let's try that. If you have something to say, I will unmute you if you raise your hand. I'm going to look at the chat while you're deciding how to raise your hand. I can't tell you because my screen looks different than yours, but there is a way to unmute yourself, or excuse me, to raise your hand, and I can unmute you. Let me just look through. There's a lot of private messages. I guess I assume if you've written a private message that you don't want into other, you don't want me to read it out loud. Maybe I'll just keep it anonymous. If they're private, I'll keep it anonymous. Okay, let's start here. So Anonymous says, I'm slightly confused how we are to complete a 1004 as a desktop. Great question. I don't have all the answers, Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous, but I can tell you that the Fannie Mae, if you read the Fannie Mae memo, it came with a supplemental scope of work, a supplemental certification. Okay, you cannot take the certifications out of the 1004, but you can insert the new certifications in. Now, some are saying, well, you can't change Fannie Mae's certificate. I get it, folks, but this is coming from Fannie Mae. Okay, and it gives you a little bit more flexibility. Okay, because the certification, as you know, in Fannie Mae says that the signer performed an interior and exterior inspection of the property. This circumvents that. Okay, is there a risk because you still have that statement in there? Yes. I can't imagine a state board, I can't imagine a client being upset during the crisis that we're in if you're very clear about what you do. Okay, and I would just make sure that you're very, very clear at what you do. Terry just shared some question answers that you can all download from the chat. So love it. Thank you. Okay. Another Anonymous wanting to know if you work with AMCs. Do you have a different appraiser? Do the orders come in for each appraiser or to your company? That's a great question, Anonymous. I would say, if I'm understanding your question correctly, most of the clients that I'm signed up for, other appraisers that work for me in my office are also assigned. We don't, except with certain clients that allow us to, we don't reassign those assignments internally. They're done externally, meaning if Scott can get out there faster than I can, a lot of times we'll just pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, this came in Dustin's name, but Scott could be out there a little bit earlier. Is that okay? And typically the answer is yes. Okay, good question. Just kudos. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good, love it. Thanks, Cindy. Thank you, Leslie, Bob, Randy. Awesome, thank you. I appreciate that. Very nice. Jerry, thank you. Speaking of paperless, consider, so Terry says, switching to ACH with all clients. If the post office shuts down, your checks will be MIA. Good question. Yeah, and good comment, rather. I think that's something to certainly look at. Yeah, I don't think there's any plans to shut down the post office, but there's also not a lot of plans for things that are happening daily. So who knows what can happen. So that's a great thing to think about. Thank you, Terry. Thanks, Tracy. Again, Terry shared a question answer. Okay, don't quote me on this, says Anonymous, but I believe we have to put some sort of text in the map reference if we do the recent modification. Hold on a sec. Please don't quote me on this, but I believe we have to put some sort of text into the map reference if we do the recent modified exterior or desktop. I'm not familiar with that. I'm not saying that it's not a thing, but maybe someone can help clarify that on the maps. Is there something we need to change on the maps when we do an exterior or a desktop? Perfect. Dan, this would be great to have monthly. Who knows? Maybe. I mean, maybe we need to do that. Again, the All-Star team is a daily thing that we're updating. I would highly encourage you to be a part of that. Again, it's completely free for the first 30 days. And hopefully after 30 days, we'll be done with this, right? How do we go about getting REO work? What a great question, Lynn. You just need to reach out and find, and I would just do a little Google searching and find out who the REO companies are. I'll give you a couple. Aquin is one. There are others out there that do, so for each state, HUD and Fannie Mae have their assigned contractors that handle that work, okay? I'm not even gonna share any of the names because what would be true in Idaho is not gonna be true in Massachusetts, okay? So you just need to find and probably contact your local HUD office and ask them who they contract out for foreclosure work, okay? You can also work directly with HUD and you can also work directly with Fannie Mae for those foreclosure works as well, okay? Great question. All right, thank you, Terry. Sharing lots of stuff you can download. Appreciate that. The memo and some of the certifications he's putting up there. So please download those. Okay, Terry says, yes, see the docs updated. Okay, this is in answer to the question about the maps. We need to put the word exterior in the map reference field. Okay, very good. I learned something today. Thank you, guys. Awesome. Okay, so in the map reference field, I assume you're talking about that map reference that's at the subject section on the top of the URAR 1004. Make sure you put the word exterior in the map reference field. Love it. Okay. Another individual. I have quite a few appraisals for clients I have performed previous inspections with the last year. During this time, a few of these borrowers have stated that they do not want anyone coming inside. Would it be feasible for me to do a virtual inspection rather than visit the home for a 1004? The answer to that is yes, with a caveat. The caveat is we as appraisers, if you read the memo, cannot make the decision. We can certainly recommend. Now I know, trust me folks, I'm with you. Appraisers, you're supposed to determine the scope of work. I get it, okay? But the bottom line is Fannie Mae said it's up to the lender. So yes, the answer is that is absolutely feasible, but you're gonna have to go through the client in order to get that permission, okay? Dan says, I work for Fannie on REOs. Yeah, you can work directly with Fannie. Love it. Okay. Wow, lots of questions. Honor says, I have emails confirming that you do have to put desktop in the map reference, but the information on the 1004 that needs to be filled out, some would only be able to be filled out if you did an interior inspection. Yeah, I agree. I think this is a tricky briar patch that we have to pick through for sure, okay? Anonymously, someone says, this is what one client sent to me. Quote, please note that for desktop appraisals or appraisals with an exterior only inspection that is completed on a form for an interior and exterior inspection, the form 1004 is permitted under the GSE's temporary guidelines. The appraiser must include in the map reference field the corresponding text identifier that the report type are desktop or exterior. Thank you. Perfect. Yeah, I think we got that answered. Okay, good. Awesome. I don't see any hands raised. I don't see any more questions coming in. We are at about the 1 hour mark. I am certainly willing to stay for a little bit longer if you have other questions that I can help answer, or that your fellow appraisers can help answer. Obviously, I don't have all the answers, and I've learned some things today. So you're welcome, Lynn and CTF34 and Rob and Gerald. Thank you guys. I appreciate you being here today very much. I see my good friend Blaine Fyan out there. Shout out to Blaine if you're not part of his podcast. It's a great podcast. I know Mark Scapinetz was going to be on here as well. I don't see him, but maybe he's on there. Maybe he's Mr. Anonymous out there. He's got a great podcast. There's some great podcasts with some great information out there, folks. Stay positive. Don't let fear dictate the future. Can I just say something? And I mean this sincerely. This is not just me trying to play Pollyanna. There are times that I literally lose sleep over what my business is doing. Can I afford to make payroll? What is going to happen in the appraisal market? What's going to happen with fill in the blank? I'm human, and I have human feelings, and I have emotions, and I have fears, and I have everything that everybody experiences, right? From the very beginning of this COVID-19 deal, not once have I felt fear. Not once. Not once have I felt worried, concerned. I am taking precautions. My son, who's been gone for 2 years, just came home yesterday, and we're basically keeping him on quarantine. We just don't interact with other people. He's been in airports, and we're taking precautions. And my kids, thank goodness, have been homeschooled all of this time. So this isn't new for them. But we're, as a family, we're taking precautions. As a business owner, I'm taking precautions. I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. Not in the least. I just feel like it's going to be okay, and we're going to be there as appraisers to help and to buoy each other up and to come together as a community. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. Oh, one more question. What membership does the coupon code cover? Oh, good question. That is for the All-Star team, okay? So let me just briefly tell you what the All-Star team is. The All-Star team is a group, a community of appraisers across the nation that have come together for the sole purpose. There's one purpose, one goal: help each other to be more successful as appraiser business owners. That's the purpose, okay? We have a private Facebook group. You will not find it. Don't look for it. It's closed. It's secret. You won't find it. The only way you can find it is if you join the All-Star team, and then we invite you to be a part of that group. It is a group that is posted on daily. So other appraisers posting on there questions about complex assignments, questions about COVID-19, questions about their business. And there's other appraisers in there helping each other out. So a lot of the information for this particular webinar originated there, right? And we had an opportunity to share information with one another constantly, okay? It also is a monthly webinar. So a monthly, what we call meeting with the coach, and it's a 2-hour meeting. The first is a webinar, and the second is question answer, and what we call micro mentoring, where you have an opportunity to come on and say, hey coach, I'm dealing with such and such situation, can you help me with that? All of that is included. There's also member resources with lots and lots of just things that will help you to be a more successful business owner. Flyers that I've used, worksheets that I've used. There's a ton of webinars. If you look at my the product section of the appraisercoach.com, you scroll down there, and with a couple of exceptions, I mean literally maybe 3 exceptions, everything on there is free for the All-Star team. So if you want to watch any of those webinars, absolutely free to you if you use the COVID-19 coupon code for 30 days. Okay, good question. Okay, we got a couple other questions here. Is there a way to communicate with All-Star members in my state? Yes, Dan, good question. So you have an opportunity to reach out, and nothing's off the table in there. If you want to just post and say, hey, are there other appraisers here in Alabama? And then you can put together a what's called a messenger group with just your Alabama appraisers, if you will, and be able to communicate with them directly as well. Okay, good question. John saying I'm taking a week off to refocus. Love it. Love it. Okay. Okay, anybody thinking of small business loan to help things out? We did talk about that earlier. Again, I would avoid loans if you can. Hopefully you've got some escrow there. And let's be honest, we don't need it yet, right? Yet. Joe says, thank you, Dustin. Hope to shake your hand and give you a bear hug sometime. I love it. No worry, no fears, eyes forward, take precautions, stay safe, everyone. Peace. Tracy says, hi, Tracy. We are important in this industry. Stay healthy and positive. Awesome. Yeah, these are great. Hey, Diana, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. I love Diana. Fear is a gift, just as hope we decide which one we want to accept. That is a great way to end. Let's end with that. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, each of you, for joining me today. This has been a great blessing to be with you. I very much enjoyed being with you today, and I really appreciate each of you for the non-fear way that you've come together. It's a great opportunity right now to come together as appraisers and to be a part of each other's lives and to help each other to be more successful and more productive. God bless. Be safe. Okay, take care of yourself first and your family. But I absolutely believe this is a great opportunity to grow. So let's do that together. Have a great day and go out there and create some value, folks. Love you all. Bye-bye.